Hello, how are you guys doing tonight? I'm Chelsea from Apple Blossom Way, and tonight I am going to be showing you a little logo update. So I had this big sign made from a friend about 2 years ago, and it's just black and white, and I really love it, but I decided it's time to add a little pizzazz to it. And so the perfect way to do that is with Redesign with Prima's Lush Floral transfer, okay? So this is the transfer I'm gonna be using tonight. There are lots of different florals on it. And the thing that I love about this transfer is they're all different sizes. So there's some florals that are really large, and there's some that are very small. And then there's a few loose greens, so you can kind of position it the way you want to. When I work with florals, I really like cascading effect, or when they kind of flow and there's like a rhyme or reason to it. I don't love when it's just a bunch of florals in one spot. So I really like this transfer for that reason. And I have already went out, and so I think there are 6 sheets in this transfer, and I've already gone through and cut out some of the flowers that I want to use tonight. And so I'm going to show you which one I'm going to use and then kind of show you my project, and we'll get started. If you guys have any questions, feel free to ask, and let me know where you're from. All right, that's one of the fun parts of this job, is getting to know people from all over the world. And so it's kind of fun to see how far we reach. So I'm here in Utah, and so let's see how far out we can go tonight, okay? So let me show you first the sign that I'm working on, and then I will show you the florals I've cut out, and we will start figuring out where we're going to apply them. So this is kind of a cool sign. If you will look right here, let me kind of stand up and hold this up so you guys can see it. So this is actually a large mirror. Do you see that? And this is the sign. Okay? So that mirror came from a waterfall vanity. I'm sure a lot of you have seen them. And I got the vanity with the mirror, and the mirror was broken. And so I thought I could replace the mirror. And then I thought, how many people really, unless you want a waterfall vanity genuine to its style, there's not a ton that want that funky shaped mirror with the edges raw. And so I had a friend cut a piece of wood for me that's the same size, and I had another friend make me my sign, and then I use the frame to display my sign. And it's really cool because it has that base, so it will balance out, and I can set it up at shows or wherever I'm at. So I wanted to show you that in case you guys come across a waterfall vanity with a mirror and you don't know what to do with it. A sign is a really cool thing. If you have a business, it's a great business sign, but many of you don't. And so it would be really cool to have your family name on it, or put a transfer on it. So the mermaid transfer is super cool. There's a lot of different transfers that have writing on it, or even a floral transfer would be really cool, and then set it up on top of a big shelf. Or a lot of you have stairwells, and in that stairwells there's usually a wall that comes down when you walk down, and that wall's empty a lot. So a waterfall mirror, or a broken one, would be cool to paint it and add a transfer to, and then that would take up a lot of space in a stairwell, and it would look really cool. So that's just some ideas for you on uses for a mirror such as this, or if it's broken or whatnot. But tonight I'm gonna work on my logo. So let's get started. So the Lush Floral 2 transfer is what I'm using. And if you guys have used that before, like give me a thumbs up or show me in the comments. If you can, drop a picture. Maybe you can't right now, but later. If you watch this on the replay, you can. I would love to see how you've used the Lush Floral transfer, because it's such a cool transfer. So there's lots of different ways to go with this. There are these rich burgundies and purples in the transfer. And there are some really beautiful, very neutral, kind of nude pink florals, which I really like. And I love this green, the greenery in these. I think it's really beautiful. So I have cut out some more neutrals that I want to use with my sign, and then a couple of, this to me is kind of like a gray-white floral. It's small. And then I did grab a couple of the really deep, rich, true purple florals. They have a little bit of that gray tone in them, so they pull a little bit of neutral, but they are going to ground my other flowers because they have that deep, rich color tone. And I really love this one. This is a good in between because it has those gray and white neutrals, but it still has that beautiful deep purple base with the gold in the iris of the flower, which is really beautiful. Okay, so let's do this thing, shall we? I'm gonna start on the outer edges. I also have a bunch of the greenery from the transfer cut out, and that way I can kind of just cascade it and drape it as I see fit. So I'm gonna start from the edge and then work our way up. And I think I'll start pretty much when I do florals, I like to start at one end and then the opposite end and then kind of slowly bring them together. That way we have a nice space in between all of the flowers, but it's still pleasing to the eye because it flows. So let's see. I'm gonna turn you guys down just a little so that you guys can see. And I think I'll use this smaller one down here. And I'm gonna have my scissors handy. That way I can kind of see where I wanna put this. And then I can cut off excess so I can save these pieces for something else. And I know it's just a tiny bit of green or a tiny bit of the floral, but you never know when you might just need a tiny corner. If I make a mistake, I'm gonna want that later. So I'm just gonna set it aside. Yeah, isn't it beautiful, Lisa? I really love it. And then I'm just gonna peel off the back. And my edge doesn't have to be perfect, but I do want it to hang off the edge. So let's see. Oh, I love that. I really love that because it comes up over the bottom of my bee. And then I'm just going to kind of lightly press down and get this where I want it. And then we will burnish it. And on the edge where I have some overhang, I'm gonna take the edge and really press down on that edge so it almost cuts the transfer so I don't have any wanting to peel up even if my edge isn't stuck down. But even if this circle was just white without a logo on it, it would be really beautiful to do a transfer like this and hang it on a wall somewhere that you have a large space you need to fill. Okay, let's kind of look and see where that's at. I peel it up slowly and kind of just look as I'm going to make sure that I'm not peeling up any of the transfer. If I am, I'm just gonna put it back down and burnish it some more. That looks pretty good. So now it's on there, I'm going to burnish it again. This is really important. If you don't burnish it a second time, then you can get little air pockets in your transfer. And when you seal this with a varnish, any type of water-based varnish or poly, then if you get air bubbles, they can crack and then you'll have issues. So make sure that it's really adhered well to your piece. This is also going to make sure that my little edges, the silhouette, kind of melts into the piece and fades away, so I don't have those clear edges. And I'll just kind of wrap that edge around there. Ooh, this is beautiful, I love it. It's so pretty. I really like the distressed look, and I prefer it when I do transfers because they're not always perfect. Sometimes I may rip off an edge, and so I don't ever expect them to be perfect. Always just keep in mind, keep your expectations that anything might happen and go with the flow, and you'll be much happier. So this comes with the transfers. This is just, it's just like a stir stick, a paint stir stick, a mini one. So you can use that. You can use anything that's durable with a good edge, but don't use a credit card or anything with a chip in it because you will ruin your credit card. From experience, don't do it. All right. So these are a transfer. Transfers are kind of like a rub-on tattoo for furniture. They are super cool. So let me show you before we keep going. Oh my gosh, it's so pretty. Ooh, isn't that gorgeous? I love it. And they do look like they've been painted on, which is the cool part about transfers. They are very sheer and very thin. And so, yeah, these letters were painted on. So I have a friend that does signs and she painted the letters on. But yes, you could do it over top of vinyl. So Denise says she usually uses her fingers. You can do that at first, but you need to make sure that you burnish it really well with something like this, or else it might not adhere to your piece, and then that's when you get that crackling, the air pockets, and you can have issues. That's why I said I typically distress mine I'll take like 220 fine grit sandpaper over mine and distress it afterwards. I like some of the texture from my piece and the paint coming through. I feel like it makes the transfer look more authentic. It melts it into the piece and it doesn't look like you put a sticker on it. So I prefer to do it that way. And that's why I say just make sure you always kind of let it do what it's going to do and don't have very strict an idea of what you want. It's the Lush Floral 2 transfer. Okay, let's keep going. I'm gonna do the other side with the other half. So this actually matches up right here, but I'm gonna bring this one up to the top up here, and then we'll start adding some greens and kind of let it flow that way. So I'll just kind of flip it around. I'm gonna go kitty corner from where my other transfer was. And I'll just kind of place it and cut off the excess again. And I will save that. We'll set it aside. Peel off my back. And that's another reason I love this transfer, is because they are all loose florals. So I have, I'm not cutting through other florals to try and get this exact shape, which is really nice. Okay. Okay, so we'll go kitty corner there. I'm going to apply this, and then I'll show you how I add on my greens to kind of give some flow to my piece. Oh, see right there. I've got a big tear in it because I wasn't careful, but I'm okay with that because I'm kind of just letting go of control, and it's gonna do what it's gonna do, and it's gonna look beautiful no matter what. And I'm not gonna worry about it. For me, that's life and that's art, and that's just how it goes, right? I mean, does life ever turn out how you planned it? Very rarely. But usually it's more, you know, a lot of times more beautiful than we anticipated, so even if it's hard. Okay, so I've got this on there. Let's kind of peel it and see where we're at. We'll burnish it again, and then we'll add some greens so they kind of trickle down. Hey Priya again, how are you? And right there where it kind of buckled on me and didn't adhere, when I burnish that, it's going to peel a little bit, but it will stop. So that's okay. I'm okay with that. Okay, all right, so we've got there and our kitty corner there. And then let's trickle it down. So I'll start here. Let me grab some of these other florals. And I feel like it probably is best if it's a little heavier in the base and lighter up top. It will be more pleasing to the eye that way. So I'll probably add the darker purple below. The nice thing about this is I can overlap transfers. So you see where my light nude colored flowers come there, I can bring this purple one right over the top, and that is okay. And then I'll save that because I may use it on another edge, or I may use it on another piece in the future. Yeah, isn't it killer with these florals? Oh, I love it. Okay, and then we'll just come right here. Burnish this on. So it's going to adhere really well to the part that just has paint. Where I'm adhering it over another transfer, I'm going to make sure I burnish it really, really well, or it's a little bit more difficult to get it to grip at first, but once it does, it's totally fine. And then I can just kind of pull it back, pull, scrunch that bottom, and then burnish again. If you look really closely, I know you guys can't see this right now, but when you burnish the second time, you will see a little bit different, a little bit of a difference in the sheen. It's a little bit shiny where you have burnished really well, and not as much where you haven't. So if you kind of look to the sides and then you can kind of see where that sheen is, that's when you know you've burnished it really well, or maybe you need to hit another spot again. kind of give you a gauge. Okay, that is beautiful. Oh, I love it. Okay, let's add some greens. We have about 10 more minutes. Perfect. All right, so let me set this aside. I definitely, isn't that gorgeous? Oh, I love it. This is just the wooden stick. This comes with the transfers. And if you guys will look in the description too, it also says what transfer I'm using. So this is the only tricky part. I want this green to look like it came behind the floral, okay? Because it's my longest one. So I'm going to have to trim it a little bit to kind of fit right in where I want it to. So I'm gonna kind of hold it in place and just peel it up a little. And as long as it comes behind one of the florals, then it will look very natural. So I'm actually just going to cut off that piece right there. This part's a little bit of guesswork because you still have the backing on, so it's not transparent. But you just get it close enough, and then when you're applying it, you can keep your scissors handy, and you can always kind of just be careful and lift an edge and cut off extra if you need to, so it appears as though it's coming behind the flower instead of in front of it. So this will come upward towards the other flowers. And as long as most of this is behind, let's see, about right there. Okay, so this is exactly what I was talking about. So I haven't pushed down on this bottom corner yet. I'm just going to trim it just a little so it won't go over the top of my other flower. If you have real fine scissors, this would be much easier with those. I have these big old giant scissors. Yeah. And then we'll overlap on this, but underlap on this one so it will look natural. Okay, and then we'll peel it up. And burnish again. There. And now it looks like it was made with the transfer, right? Super cool, huh? Okay, let's add another bit of green, and then I'm gonna add another flower. We got some minutes. I feel like we'll kind of bring maybe one here. I don't want to cover up my logo too much, so I'm going to kind of come up and then maybe here or here. But let's do this one first. This has such a tiny root on the end that I feel like we could kind of fit this anywhere in with the flower, and we're not going to have difficulties looking like we just stuck it on there. So, and especially where it comes with this, the greenery here, we can kind of overlap it a little bit, and it's going to blend right into this other piece. so beautiful. Isn't that pretty? Let's bring another one to just let it flow a little bit more. I have, in this transfer, there's some larger leaves. There's these little buds. So you can kind of look and see, you know, I could do a smaller bud there. That would be pretty. I could bring out some bigger leaves, which actually I really love. So let's do that. Because I feel like it kind of helps to draw your eye up from this lower corner up into the upper corner where we place the other transfer. Anything you can do to help keep the eye flowing through the piece is ideal, I think. I kind of think a piece should be beautiful enough that your eye can kind of flow from place to place. Let's put this one down below and then we'll see where we're at if we need to add the other one. Okay, I think let's add this little one right here, and then we will stop on this corner, go up to the top, and then we'll take a look at it and see what we think. I think, Corinne, I think it depends on the piece you're working on. How complex the transfer is. So there's different factors. These are very small pieces, so I'm only doing one piece at a time. I'm not working through a large transfer, so I think that really makes a difference, you know what I mean? If I'm doing large complex transfers that join, it does take a little bit longer and a little bit more patience. Mostly I wanted to show you guys this transfer because I want you to think about the projects that you're doing and how you can combine and cut pieces apart and make something magic and unique instead of just using an entire transfer. So Prima has some amazing transfers. Some are beautiful to use as a whole, and some have some really magical pieces, and others do. And if you can kind of take them and combine them, you can make some beautiful art. So it's something to just kind of keep in mind. So I wanted to break this apart and show you how you can create whatever you want by cutting it up. And then it's very unique and original, although you are using a transfer. Yes, this is on wood. So this kind of shows you, so you can see how we're starting to have some flow and a little bit up in here, so it will kind of guide your eye to the upper corner. All right, yeah. So let's add a little bit in our upper corner. I really love this one, so I'm gonna try and see if I kind of overlap it a little bit like this. Oh, love this one. So we'll kind of cut that excess off, save it. And then take a look. So we're gonna overlap here, and I don't wanna cover too much because this one's really beautiful too. So I'm not going to press it down. I'm just kind of setting it to see where I want it. I wanna make sure I keep that flow. But once I press it down, it's done, so. Yeah, right there. Okay, That's a good compromise because we still have the iris or the center of the flower here, but we come down and I still get to capture some of that beautiful gold ring from this flower too. So just press hard on the edge. And I'll spend a little bit more time burnishing over the top of the other transfer. And I can even, I used way less than I thought I would, so I can even cut off this excess and grab some of the paper I have left and save that as well. So I think that some of you may have seen people will piece together parts of transfers and create different shapes or animals, florals. This would be really cool to use as part of an eye. If you wanted to create some type of animal, that would be really cool. So always save your scraps because you never know what kind of magic you might create in the future. Oh, that is not wanting to stay down right there. So I'm going to start from this end and then go really gently to pull it off. And then I'll burnish back over that to make sure that stays down. Perfect. Now I know it's not going to come up or peel. And I love how this floral is a little sheer, so my logo still shows through the edge. Oh, that's so amazing. I love it. Okay, let's do a little bit more coming down, and then I'm gonna let you guys go. And so if you have questions, we're gonna be here for about, let's see, a couple more minutes. And so if you have questions, ask them. If I don't answer them right away, I will within the next little bit. Let's add these and then I will let you guys go, okay? Okay, so this one, a little bit of the greens, just kind of coming down. When I'm all done, I can seal this. I'll use Wise Owl varnish to seal this. I really love the matte varnish for pieces like this because it makes the logo easy to read and it's a really beautiful true matte finish. Or if you want a little sheen, you can do that too, but for logos, I prefer the matte. Come this way. We'll just do this one and I'll show you guys, let you go. Okay. You guys want to see? Okay, so that is where we are at for right now. I love how this kind of comes up and flows a little, and then we will bring a little bit down here, and I might bring it just a tiny bit more on the bottom and around the edges, but you can see how this brings balance to the sign, and it just adds a little bit of that color. and that floral. So anyways, I hope you guys have a great night and go create something really beautiful. Thanks for tuning in. See you guys.